Hopefully they don't have another turn target spell or permanent. Want to return this, deal 4 here, and hopefully this resolves. If it's a second spell pierce, then... Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing some more Jeskai Control. I haven't played Control very often on this channel, but this is a list that I absolutely love. We're not too counterspell heavy, and we are playing the big splashy I win the game spells, where we're not necessarily relying on Jace to win, a mill Jace. That's not necessarily my favorite way to win of all time when playing Control. We get to play a lot of big things like Jeskai's Revelation to close out the game at the very end, where we get to deal 4 damage, bounce a thing, make 2 1/1 monks with prowess, draw 2 cards, and we gain 4 life. This is a very expensive card when it comes to the casting of it, but playing 2 of them and it being an instant speed spell, if we're able to get to the late game against some of our aggro opponents, this card is an all-star, which you'll get to see in today's video. But other than that, this deck performs really well, and I was really happy with how it ended up going. I won't necessarily spoil the entire video, but the deck did very well, and I think we're kind of at the point that this deck is pretty much solved for the most part. But to break it down just really quickly before we hop into the games, our counter magic is pretty thin, really relying on dispelling exile and having 4 copies of Shiko and 2 copies of River Regent in our deck. So this is either counter for 2 or counter for 4 if we reveal a dragon. And obviously sometimes revealing a Shiko does enough mental damage that your opponent doesn't want to play anymore. And then we're playing 2 copies of 3 Steps Ahead. Cancel mana for a counter spell is a bit high with how aggressive our mana, or how aggressive our meta is, not our mana. I broke my brain when I said mana there. Our meta is very aggressive, and Corey Steel Cutters slip under the 3 Steps Ahead. So it's oftentimes pretty hard, or even a Slick Shot becomes a very awkward card when it's plotted that we have to use our 3 Steps Ahead on that, and then Corey Steel Cutter gets through, or like a Heartfire Hero Manifold Mouse. So this card tends to be a little too slow, but in the late game it's pretty awesome, especially if we're able to copy something like a River Regent and pound things whenever it's necessary. Other than that, we have a big removal package today in 2 Torch to Towers, kind of going down on copies of those to play 4 copies of Lightning Helix, 3 damage, 3 life, which is huge in a lot of our matchups. Then we play 2 Get Lost to kind of cover a lot of other bridges we need, and then a Braid that can blow up a lot of pesky artifacts. This card actually comes up very clutch today, and we get to kind of abuse it with a copy of Shiko as well, so that's pretty awesome. And on to the value cards with Stock Up and Rediscover the Way. A lot of people know what Stock Up does. Top 5, grab 2 of them. Rediscover the Way, look at the top 3, put 1 in your hand, the rest go on the bottom, and then that happens again, and then creatures can get double strike. That works very well with like a Shiko doing 8 damage, this doing 12 damage, and then a prowess creature can get out of control if we happen to do that on curve. A lot of times the way that happens is Rediscover the Way has fully resolved at this point, and then we Shiko, bring it back, and then by the time this last mode is going to trigger, we have Jeskai Revelation, and then those prowess creatures can close the game in 1 turn. Stock Up obviously being great. Temporary Lockdown, Ill-Time Explosion kind of being our overarching kind of removal whenever it comes to getting a lot of value off of 1 card. Not going overboard in Temporary Lockdowns, playing 4 of them. We are only playing 3 because of how much removal over here we have, and along with Shiko being able to either play one that's been put in the graveyard by being destroyed, or, you know, like, just don't necessarily need them as often. Then we have the River Regent. We are playing 2 of these. I think I was on 1 last time, I'm not sure, but we can either draw 3 cards or have it enter bounce 2 non-land permanents, and then a Biza to bridge the gap in a lot of our games. Where this card's good, it's incredible. Where it's bad, it's just a 4/5, and we hope it does any of its modes. With that said, let's go ahead and dive in and see how well we can actually perform with this Jeskai Control deck. I have a counter spell, and I am first. If I draw like a good land, Stock Up's available, so we'll try. We'll try. Alright, sure. As long as we get to hit this Corey Steel Cutter. Oh, well, alright. Kind of what we need. No plot to Slick Shot, please. It also won't reveal the dragon. I guess it asked me if I wanted to submit, so I guess it's there. But they don't know which one it is, right? So, oh, thankfully we hit a land. So this is one of the weird cases where I could temporary lockdown, but I think we set up our next couple of turns by taking some lands here. I could go for second lockdown, but I think just lands will be good enough, because if they do blow this up somehow, and that's not really a thing that's going to happen in this matchup, we get to just go into Shiko on turn 5 and replay it. So Sleight of hand here, trying to find some more action. Another sleight of hand. So their hand may be set up next turn with another cutter, but maybe a little bit dead here. And there's a Monstrous Rage. Big damage coming across the board. Honestly, red, white, more action. Like, a little part of me just wants to Helix here, but I think I could just go all that next turn. I could just temporary lockdown and absorb this board. Just kind of sucks that I went for stock up last turn when I could have went for Helix there, and on that Monster Shray's cast I could have Helixed it, but there's no guarantee, right? Our opponent could have not committed that hard. But with as many sleight of hands and things that they cast, we can assume that their threat situation is kind of dead. Let's play a Surveil land, get that in tapped. We're not looking to play Shiko right now anyway. That land goes in the graveyard. Double Helix up, also a 3 steps ahead. Spell Pierce is definitely possible in a spot like this. Flick Shot. Storm Chasers. I'm going to get value off our counterspell if I can. Maybe they Spell Pierce this, but I'm perfectly fine with that. The second one, okay. So now it looks like I should go for Helix, Flick Shot, Helix kind of shenanigan here. Monstrous Rage doesn't even save this. I know that's weird to say out loud, but it doesn't, because this gets a 1/1 counter to it. It'll have 3 toughness. Honestly, why I've been so excited to play Lightning Helix again. I love Lightning Helix as a card. 4th copy of Storm Chasers. 1 in exile, currently 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'll do it. These Helixes will help bridge such a gap here, too. Sure. That's tapped for now, so I don't have to answer it now. I'll just answer this. Solve all. Now there's some question to be made. Do I Helix down the thing now why they don't have Spell Pierce and stuff up? And I think the answer is yes. Because now my plan, especially here, is to go Shiko, stock up, hopefully hit a land, hold up a counterspell. Stock up. And we find exactly that. Bees is pretty tight. I want to land, and I guess it should be land other Shiko, right? I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It feels right, but I don't know. They'll look to block and then either counter a thing, because they only have 4 mana. Spell Pierce is obviously a card that they can do. They can buy back a card here. Okay, what are you buying back? A Monstrous Rage, most likely? It's just hands down the most effective card they can be playing. Yeah. I even worry about saving this. It doesn't trample over, I guess not. My creature's a legendary, so don't even worry about saving it. And now I can go Shiko. Really nothing with it. So do I want to hold in case I find something a little bit better on a following turn? I think the answer is yes. For example, if I can get into a stock up, find land, play Shiko, stock up again at 17 life with 3 cards in their hand and these kind of falling off. Get lost is obviously an option as well. Or I can get lost maybe one of these that they pump to the last mode and then we can go from there so they're not making otters for every turn. Then we can Shiko blow up the other one as well so they lose all the value on it. Then that would be every copy of Storm Chaser's talent out of the game. And that's pretty nice. Unless they're playing this town, but with this card in their deck, I don't believe this town is in their list. And even if they bounce this, they just get a Storm Chaser's back. Because we were able to deal with the Corey Steelcutter earlier. But they're in the tank now, or not there. I would assume in the tank. Been playing pretty fast both ways, so we'll wait until they respond and we'll cut to that. All right, is that a concession? Okay, sweet. Well, we get the game. We got to do what we wanted. Temporary lockdown was good in that game, but didn't necessarily lock up much for us. And the fact that it was just 1 Storm Chaser, they found all 4 copies in their top 21. But sure, yep, we get there. Very cool. We move on. All right, my opponent's first You have quite a bit of interaction and a good way to kind of take over the game on that turn 3 situation. So, yeah, we'll keep. Well, we'll keep that land as well. Double white, going into a temporary lockdown, seeing a Boros land revealed. Ooh, this is Caretaker's Talent. But we're going to have to get lost. Any Caretakers or Urbrass Forge is going to be a tough card for us to kind of keep up with because this cannot interact with the artifact. So Urbrass Forge kind of leads into an auto loss overall. It's not like an auto loss. It's just our way to deal with it is just somehow outpace them at some stage of the game. I guess like Rediscover the Way can do that a bit. Let's just play another bluish land. I know my hand's pretty white heavy here, but just kind of a bit. Which one would I like to take? Counterspell would be best, weirdly enough. The reason why is because our way to answer Urbrass Forge. If they didn't play it last turn, I feel like they didn't have it, but now they do. I would almost bet that they didn't have this last turn, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were playing around my counterspell. Oh, I do have a way to deal with Urbrass Forge. Very cool. So I guess here I take Shiko. I drew my one of answer to this card, which is height. There's no other real way to say it other than that was a very good draw. And now our counter spell works very well with Shiko. Honestly, I most likely won't waste this. Ooh. Odd. I'm going to counter that. It's mid-0. Feels worth it. Felt worth it. I just go like into Shiko right into Rediscover and just keep playing this card advantage game. It feels like the right move. My hand's so dead right now. I understand I lose out on playing the Abrade there, but I do play 4 copies of this. Which one of these would I like? I guess 3 steps ahead would be Poggers. Although this card's pretty good, because I can always play it and bounce 2 things. I'm going to take that, actually. And if my cards become dead in hand, this is a pretty good way to cycle them away. Black mana. What would be in their deck for black mana? Oh. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm going to take the non-land here, I guess. Do I go for Surveil Land or do I go for this? I'm going to go for Surveil Land here. No land. Thankfully, we did go for Surveil. In turn. Might be have to barrel this and hopefully there's not a cluster of lands sitting on top. You draw 2 cards whenever a creature you control enters. Okay. That's fine. Yes. Not really a way I can interact with it, I guess, but I could get lost if I want to. My hand size is going to get pretty high, so I will go ahead and do that. Not worried about the bottom function of it that much. It's more of a hand restriction because with a draw here and then this triggering, it just me at a bad point. Oh wait, the finality counter. I don't remember what happened, to be honest with you. Guess I go for exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Sure. It will pass, and then we'll activate this on their end step because that does not say sorcery speed for some reason. A pretty good card. We can always get lost at as well. Die. Activate this because if we hit it, get lost out of here, we're going to want to cast it over the one in our hand. Visa. Pop. Weirdly have more life than me, and I don't know if they have more lands than me. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 5, 6, 7. So before we play our land, we want to play our Visa here. We won't have the... Oh, I guess we'll make a treasure, so we would have the mana to activate that, but... Gain life. We'll make a treasure, I suppose. Then I can play the Surveil Land. Stock Up's a pretty solid card. This is definitely going to be a Jeskai Revelation kind of game that we have to win here. We'll reveal it though. Can pop my bees if they'd like. They do. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a get the revelations, cast those cards, and make them win the game for me. We do know one's pretty deep down here, and we only have one more in our deck. So here we're going to try to do something. Well, I guess I can save it for a following play. The idea is to actually sacrifice a map to scry, but I already know what my top card is, so I don't really care. We're down to 2 cards, most likely is going to be a dud. We're also temporary lockdown, absorb kind of everything here. I don't really care to right now. Our Corey's stays untapped. We just want non-creature spells here. So Revelation plus Shiko seems like a pretty good option. I can play Shiko now and absorb, just abrade that, which seems good to me. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I'm gonna go for Jeskai Revelation instead. 2 prowess creatures might come up clutch. A spot like this. Sure. Turn target permanent to his hand. Owner takes whatever. Deal 7, 4. Sure. We really want a tap out situation here where I can kind of establish a lot pressure on the board, but feels like not going to be that way. I guess I can bounce their land. They play a second Urbrass Forge. Sure. Can I outpace an Urbrass Forge? For the most part. With the Revelation, I can. I want to go 4 upstairs, so I'll just take the 3. Hope they sack this to draw. That'd be the best case scenario for us. Then instead of the Fountain Port, I'm going to reset their Urbrass Forge, I guess. Permanent. You. Okay. Alright. So I have a way. These would have to get huge, so there's not really a way I can do this. But regardless, the creatures are solid. Just any type of spell that I cast is going to just get me value. So I can go for a Shiko, a Braid, blow this up. I guess let's play a Surveil land here. We might even be able to do some cool stuff here where we power one of these up pretty substantial here. We're going to do now. I'm going to split it though. I'm not going to invest it in one. You know, that could technically be a mistake, but I'm hoping. I don't know what my mana is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a little bit weird. I can cast Torch to Tower and save one of them. Want to? Then we can go for a Braid. I have a stock up on top, so I don't really care about that too much. Now what's up? Take a big chunk of their life total here. It's going to be 7. Or do I just take even more, right? So that'd be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't think so. Could also be a Sunfall or something here. Yes. Creature enters, there's a drain gain situation that happens. I don't have this counter spell up, which maybe I should have held off on a map, but I mean, even a Sunfall's payable here. This happens, that's fine. I won't invest a Torch if I don't have to, because I want it to be my extra prowess trigger. And right now, our counterspell is active and good. Oh, a weird way this game has gotten paced out, but so if they pop this creature, right? Force the Tower doesn't get there. Death Touch doesn't get there. I mean, 1 damage also I don't think is going to get there, so I'm just going to let this 1 damage hit. If they sacrifice it with Fountain Port, that puts Sunfall and Day of Judgment down. They won't have that answer. There's a map. Solve. Carrot Cake, sure. Honestly, we've gotten a lot of bailout by kind of countering this, I think, because based on what cards they played following that, it seems pretty good. I guess they could have had Sunfall. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Pass here. it's a sack here, I think the game's over because we'll have too much interaction. We'll be able to barrel this, and then we can torch the tower our own creature. Yeah, so even if they have a get lost for Shiko, I think it's over. Temporary lockdown can do it. That's fine. Yeah, I don't really have a way to deal with that, huh? Yeah, and stock up's just too good. So we're just looking for like helixes here, I guess. Here. Turn. So the turn can just start with a stock up, I suppose. Discover is pretty good. Temporary lockdown is really nothing. We'll grab a torch. I have 30 cards left, so we have plenty of room to operate here. Holding this counterspell is most important. And I have enough to play 2 of them if I find another one. I will take a helix. Combat, and I do technically have lethal in a way. Either I find another Shiko or I do find another helix. We're all good there. A helix of any kind. I don't think there's any in my graveyard. There's 2 Shikos, and there's 2 on the bottom for my helixes, and a Revelation's pretty far down there as well. So actually, realistically, finding the lethal there is a little bit tougher. So 5 mana, they're getting a plains. They could flip this, I guess, if they want. Weird build overall. If Shiko gets to connect again, I think it's definitely over. My voice just cracked, but that's okay. But yeah, if this gets to connect again, I have a hard time feeling it's never over at that point, or it's fully over at that point. They're going to gain a little bit because of this ability is still technically radiating on the stack. The permanent's not there, but as you can see over here, it's represented. So I go to 19, which is fine. Comes up. I'm not going to block because blocking just causes some more issues. I could just like force the tower that to be safe, I guess. Oh wait, is this? No, this one too. So we're totally fine here. Our counterspell is true. High noon. I want to high noon me. I just counter high noon. Go for it, maybe. I guess I have to counter high noon. Like weird because if they do get us in that kind of one spell turn territory, we're in a really weird spot. So I'm gonna helix now. 8. We get 4 more looks. Another counterspell comes true. A Shiko should be super. It's to 1. Oh man. Guess I'll just take Shiko at this point. Actually, I have 1 helix in the graveyard. Tough. I had like a weird way to do it. That for 4. And now the thing. I'm gonna activate this and see what's up. Okay. To the land from there. And this will give me double strike on a creature, which is awesome. I don't know if I necessarily care to do anything else. We do have a weird play where we can play this and return a Shiko to our hand and then replay it and then helix our opponent. Did they just draw lands? I said nice. Definitely could be possible. I'll resolve, big dog. Or will happen. We should threaten the 2/2s because, like, what are they doing? I don't know what these would be doing here, so I think I would threaten them. I do think I'm just going to cycle this, draw 3 cards, and discard a card. Definitely just looking for the last little bit. I resolve. I have 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, so our counterspell is just so bad. Yeah. Really matter. Wherever they choose to target here, we'll torch the tower. Also, if our Shiko stays, it'll have double strike this turn. If our Shiko stays, we just win, I guess, because they're at 4. Kind of like now, no matter what they do, I just hold my counter spell up indefinitely. Cool, and the lightning helix was right there, so even if they did find an answer, we had helix, Shiko helix, and we would have got away with that game. So very cool, a long drug out game, but we get the win regardless against another grindy matchup, and we were able to kind of stagger them when we needed to, so that was pretty important. A caretaker talent online, if we weren't able to answer it, we would definitely would have been in a lot of trouble, but we get there and we move on. Our opponent's first, but our hand's a little whack, but I'll keep it regardless. Because our torch isn't on. Doesn't mean I think I want to throw this hand away. Thankfully we didn't, because temporary lockdown is going to be huge. We'll go ahead and play the Verge. Then I'll play my planes. Into Jeskai. Maybe we're in the mirror, but these are fast lands. I can't imagine it's the mirror. These type of lands. But it could be. Could be. Maybe it's Jeskai double spell. Who knows? Maybe it is just Jeskai. I don't know. At this point, I have no idea. Find out right now, I imagine. Okay. Well, Spell Pierce is in their deck, so I would assume it's something else. Still no info. Cool. And maybe bad now. I have no idea. Oh, yeah. This is the gaming we signed up for. Oh, wow. This is already something, I guess. A single one of us wants to cast a stock up or anything. What? What is that? Is this Oculus? What hand did you keep, dog? Okay. Up here saying stopping that one. I'll tell you that much. Going in step. You can't. You got nothing. I do feel a lot more confident in this game. I was like, there's no way we're just going to have to sit here and stare at each other for this. Is it? You know what I mean? But all that mana is going to make this counterspell just useless. Turn, I guess. I have to barrel this and hope they don't have a second copy of Spell Pierce. Doesn't that suck? Yep. Where were all these cards? Oh, wow. Definitely in barreling territory. Hopefully they don't have another turn target spell or permanent. Want to return this, deal 4 here, and hopefully this resolves. If it's a second Spell Pierce, then sure, you got it. You know what I mean? Not a whole lot I can do. You can also just cast that, by the way. And they most likely have some amount of removal, I would imagine. Even though they don't play much, though. That's the thing. Yeah, it's going to be like some Torch to Towers, but outside of that, maybe that was their whole hand. Okay. Yeah, their whole hand was just removal. They were kind of in the same spot as us, where they're like, no, I just want to interact. This is where we should be favored at this point of the game. They're pretty empty-handed. It could return a creature with Helping Hand, but what good that really does, I don't know. Now, that's exactly what we need. So I can just get lost this creature, force them to Helping Hand, and then counter it. Like, kind of make a mistake here and remove it right now, making them Helping Hand it out, and then I just counter it. So now we'll go to second main. Then now they don't fall for it. You're a one smart cookie. Play land, and I'll say go. A Shiko at some point is just going to be devastating, I think. We're going to bring this back, and quite frankly, I don't think we can lose from there. Counter draw to. Have spell pierce mana up, so we're good. Woo! Temporary Lockdown doesn't seem like the best card of all time, if I've ever read Temporary Lockdown before. No value for you. Me and you are in this game for the long haul. Okay, maybe not any longer than what we've currently been sitting here for. Man, I really thought with those fast lands, I was like, there's no way that this is the mirror and they're playing like the fast mana, which is possible. Like, I get it. Sometimes, you know, decks are on a budget or whatever. But I saw this land, and then they went land, land, land. I'm like, okay, maybe we are in the mirror. I don't know. They spell pierced me, which was a little bit strange, and then they played Fear of Missing Out on turn 7. So that's just something, dude. I don't know. Oh, our mana's tough, but we have kind of the cards to correspond with it, so we'll keep. Do want to start off with the white land because of temporary lockdown and things like that. Another stock up honestly isn't the worst card in the world to just have multiple copies of, especially if the game goes long. Blue land, another land, and that comes in untapped, so we'll definitely just keeping on top. Blue white combo. Okay, update. Gonna suck. Learned. So at this point, it is definitely go find counterspell. Go find lands. Okay. We have another surveil land. I don't really want. I just want to play on tap mana from here on out. I didn't grab a white source because I'm an idiot. I should have grabbed this one. But if I just get Omniscience combo because I don't have one of my counterspells in hand, then so be it. This is just going to be such a hard matchup regardless of what we do. I don't have one in there currently. I can represent that I'm holding a counterspell. I'm just not, though. I guess I can hold up double removal, Helix, and a Braid at this point. Their hand's so full that if they do back Omniscience, like, what do? I can't really do much about it. I guess I can wheel this, right, on end step, so I'm not totally out of the blue. Okay. Listen, I'm not a rocket scientist. I know we don't let that happen. No way I'm letting them surveil too and then play that and get way higher looks here. There's just no shot. I don't even care if they cast Charred Course here and put it right in their graveyard. I'm just not allowing that to happen. There's a Confounding Riddle. They have a land. Oh, that's what they were looking for, and there goes Omniscience. So it's pretty much land, cast, stock up, find 2-mana counterspell. Stock up. Nope. Not find it. I think we're just going to lose here. So we need to take Revelation because at one end step we have to cast this and win the game. We have land. Most likely we'll find another land, I assume. But just in case we don't, guess I take. Also tapped wrong. And everything I did wrong. I think this game's just over regardless. I knew it was kind of find counterspell or lose anyway, so not finding it there is just tough. I mean, 3 steps ahead also didn't get us there. Okay.
I'll take note of all your failures.
Also lose to that card weirdly. I have 12, so it's just a draw 1. I feel like milling ourselves there is crazy. All right, let's not make this mistake again. Stock up. We know what we're looking for. Hey, thank you. I do think it is just, at this point, grab every burn spell we can. Because honestly, I think the way we have to go about this is in turn. Yes, please pass. Discard to lockdown. I think the way we have to go about this is basically go Revelation on one of their end steps. And then go like Helix, just barreling everything that we can. There's another Omniscience. I don't have a way to exile the graveyard. Thankfully, they didn't just barrel us. We had to keep Shiko, by the way, for this exact scenario. Counter. This one. Ooh, they found another one. Okay. Oh, that white mana I didn't take earlier was actually really punishing, huh? Alright. Well, I have one way to do this. Turn. There's only one way to do this. Not great.
Heal.
Won't play around my counter spell now. Force me to have it every time. At least in my opinion, I think you force me to have it every time. They don't. Turn. Or do they just have counter spell? Fine, I still have a target, so it doesn't matter. I don't have a second white, which is objectively crazy. But hopefully we do find a solid counter magic. Oh man, they're tough. I have to use the white for Shiko here. Way low. They're playing around counter magic anyway. Yes. Here. I think they're trying to draw with Jace to find interaction. I'm just gonna pretend I have counter magic. I have no idea. Worst case scenario, I'll barrel this, and if it misses, I'll try double lightning helix. Well, team. Okay. I do have one. I'll discard a lockdown. I will attempt to counter. I'll show this. Okay. All right. I'll have land second one. It's like, please don't have land second one. All right, sweet. So they're at 16. We're gonna get lost this because we need our tokens to stay. What are the odds I can win from here? I don't know. If I play this, I have Helix. I know that's not the correct math. Helix, so I can deal 9. That'll be 8. Do we find lethal here? Wait a minute. Pause. I think we have lethal here. Either way, we're going for it. So from 16, I'm going to get to Helix lethal. Yo! Let's go, dude. So now we get to play the Shiko. Play this Helix for the final blow that we need. And just like that, we beat probably an unwinnable matchup because we found the counter spells exactly when we needed it. And the turn that they needed to go for it, they didn't. And we end up winning. And they go for it on the following turn. Because they felt like they had no other option. And we find the counter spell in response. That is a sick game. And I don't know what else. Like, that game was awesome. That game was just so fun. Here, Frog. You're in the wrong format, buddy. Modern. Psychic Frog is pretty awesome, to be honest. Twist Sphere. Alright, cool. You have a get lost. Temporary lockdown's obviously what we're looking for. Lightning Helix is a pretty solid card to make us stay alive until we get there. Corey Steel Cutter. No, Storm Chance's talent. Sure. I see a Corey Steel Cutter next turn. Sleight of hand. Hit me for 3. Ding. Lightning Helix. I looked at Lightning Helix like I didn't know the card I was going to draw. I have to like counter Corey Steel Cutter, which sucks. Alright, listen. I understand stock up's good. But I also understand my life total matters. Am I willing to take 4 damage here and allow them to find extra cards? Or am I willing to take away some of that damage, kind of negate the action? No, I think we have to counter this, right? A 0. Because they find more action than, like, we're in trouble, right? We do have Helix here. We do have 3 steps ahead to counter another thing that's important. But that's the part where Corey Steelcutter is just so good, because it just triggers prowess and we're in trouble. It's kind of why I was like, I almost rather Lightning Helix something and counter what they play post the stock up. Op can resolve. Lightning Helix probably not going to be the thing that we're finding to be the best. Monster Trades can obviously pop off here, but I think I have to get lost this. They have a Spell Pierce. They have a Spell Pierce. Alright, we take 2. Solid number. I'm going to sack both these maps. Okay. A lot of Slick Shot. Interesting. Well, while they're tapped out, I'll play a land, and I'm going to Helix this. And we're going to get lost to Slick Shot, and then we're going to Shiko do something important, I would assume. Maybe. Just maybe. Helix another creature. It's all going downhill for us. Activating that and calling it a day. Get it. Definitely would. What are we buying back? Stock up, probably. Stock up's definitely the best card. We have to go with like 3 steps at. Ooh, sleight of hand over stock up? I don't know about that one, Chief. White, 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 blue, 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 red, red, red. Okay. Go. Diversifying our mana the best we can, just holding kind of priority here. Storm Chasers, that resolves. I can't stop that. Temporary Lockdown would be dope at some point here. Land. A land they'll be allowed to play. I will allow it. Go for a Slick Shot here. I might just counter and draw. Or I might look to just draw anyway. Weird as that sounds. But I might have to counter this and then do whatever, I guess. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I kind of wanted to draw, because I'm finding a weird situation with our hand. Monster Trades is just queued up, ready to go. Sleight of hand to start the turn, so it doesn't look like Slick Shot's their priority to play here. I think they're holding this to keep me from doing stuff. Kind of a good play. The longer the Slick Shot stays there, the longer I have to hold back, constantly strain my mana, like never really tap out. And then they are able to do some chip damage on some smaller stuff like this, in which I get to pop this. Okay, I can pay for Spell Pierce now. Up again. Better be a stock up or I'm raging. Just sleight of hand. Okay. I find a temporary lockdown. No, I keep drawing lands. I'm like not that opposed to. It's just kind of annoying. I just want to counter and draw and hope I'm not dead to the follow-up creature they play. Honestly, if I'm them, I'm probably leveling one of these up and just trying to play the game that way, especially if I have a spell to cast. But most likely, this is going to have to be... I just can't keep waiting. I have 2 mana for a Spell Pierce, so... Alright. Good. And a full stack level up, exactly what we said. Oh, a tap land, tough. That is indeed tough. So let us pretend that our stock up finds our temporary lockdown. Biza is going to be a good card here. Our life title is lower than them. Most likely our creature count will be lower than them. And do I need this mana untapped? No. So I might as well play the Surveil land. Then the creatures this turn don't matter, I guess. So I should play Archive, Discover the Way is awesome, and then I should play this, gain life, draw a card. Now I have a 4/5 in the way, and again, they can cast as many spells as they want. I do have a blocker, especially for their creature land, if that's kind of the route they go. Then they can make however many otters they want, but my temporary lockdown will absorb them all. Kind of the idea. Recast Sorcery, make a otter with prowess. There's really no way in this deck to give any of that stuff haste. Popping maps, trying to reveal as little as possible. Maybe loading up on Burst Lightning, so honestly the life gain might be more crucial than we think. If I'm them, I'd probably keep the Burst Lightning. I understand maybe wanting to find more action like stock ups inside of hands and ops, but Burst Lightning can do 5 damage or 4 damage every end step of mine. But I feel pretty comfortable where I'm at. Not really going to have a way to remove this lockdown. We haven't played one yet that they really have to concern themselves with. They're going to double level up here, which even gives us more to work with when it comes to this lockdown. So let's just take everything away. Then I'm going to play Rediscover. And we're going to, at some point, give this Bees a double strike. Temporary lockdown number 2 might be the grab here. I think it is. You know, these other cards are pretty awesome. I'm just not going to attack with Biza. They have a creature land that can attack. Quarry Steel Cutter comes in. Sure. There's Swift Spear. A commitment is happening now. As soon as we cast that lockdown, they're riled up. They're ready to go. Biza block. Monstrous Rage. Attempt the Helix. Regardless, even if they grow the Swift Spear out of range of the Helix, it will gain us 3 life, and then we'll block with 5, so we'll be fine. Double Monstrous Rage commitment. We're getting their entire hand out now. As you can see, it's going to hit me for 8. Well, it's going to hit me for 3, so I've completely neutralized the Swift Spear overall. Now, the 4 that we took from this, not great. I'll agree. Not awesome. I'll take another Helix. Now we can play a Parlor. Parlor, trigger. Lock up. I'll put that in the graveyard for... Actually, I already have one in the graveyard, right? Yeah. You know what? You stay on top because I love you. Temporary lockdown the 2nd. Then, I want to play this Shiko. The reason why is because I want to give it double strike next turn. I will cast a stock up. Right now I have 5 extra life. They have a Burst Lightning, of course, but where we're at right now, I don't necessarily think I'm in that much danger. Grab second Shiko, I guess. Actually, I'll grab a Braid. Already played a land for turn. I believe. Could be wrong about that. I have no idea. Yeah, essentially this is going to allow to give my Shiko double strike, and I can hit them for 8. Good game, opponent. Yeah, it was definitely tight. I do think they played it correctly, even though it got drug out too late for them to win, I think. Where we got to that point where that slick shot was just waiting and waiting and waiting. But I think that's like, they had to play it that way. Because what they were trying to do is commit enough that a temporary lockdown is forced out of me. And then they can respond with how they did. It just took like 2 turns too long before they were able to like get the advantage. And now what do? They bring this up, they attack, I block, they Burst Lightning this, and now they're down to 2 cards. I have all this action going on. I don't know if they necessarily have a way to win, but we're going to definitely cast another stock up. Just keep pulling cards out of our deck until eventually we find our Jeskai Revelation, cast that on their end step, blow up something or bounce something and do whatever, and then we win with prowess stuff. So yeah, with that said, we win again and we move on. All right, so here we are. This is the list that we were on today, and the only downside is the amount of games that I get to do whenever we're playing Control, because Control obviously takes a little while to win. The games get kind of drug out, and if it's not a like temporary lockdown instant concession, well, we're looking at minimum 5 to 6 minutes a game, realistically up to 12 minutes. But I think if you're able to play Jeskai control well, and I do think we represented how it can look today a bit, maybe a couple of mistakes on my end. I think that Plains mistake was a bit bigger than what ended up happening in the game. I think overall, like, we kind of get punished for that more often than not, so we definitely want to make sure we're kind of tight on that situation where I look at my mana a bit more. But it's kind of that content creator brain in me. It's like, no, go, get through it. Don't sit here and think too long, because then, you know, it gets kind of stale. I understand it's Magic, and we all understand that, like, sometimes we all have to think, right? But little things like that, while trying to talk out my plays, I sometimes will miss, like, oh, I didn't realize I only had 1 white mana or something like that. Or if I'm just sitting here by myself, I'll see it. But with that said, I think we kind of filled in exactly what we want and are playing the kind of exciting cards without giving up too much. One of the cards I think that is kind of cuttable if you don't have the crafting material is definitely Ill-Time Explosion. I didn't have it today at any point, nor did I want it at any point. Like, I never was like, wow, I wish I had that Ill-Time Explosion. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like, should this be a Day of Judgment? Maybe. Should it be a Sunfall? Maybe. I wouldn't even be opposed if it was like one of any other card in here. Maybe even a second of Braid, because we know how popular Corey Steelcutter is, as much as that gets posted and thrown around, myself included. But Ill-Time Explosion is so awesome because you can't just use it as a draw too, right? And that's where it does find its good value. But other than that, we went down on Rediscover the Way. It provides so much value when it's in play that we don't necessarily ever want a second one, and oftentimes we'll pass on it. We want that second one. We're now in 4 Shikos, so we can just get it that way instead of needing another copy in our deck. But Shiko, by far, in terms of the dragons that are in the set, is just the best one. It's so good. It's so nice. It kind of has that, like, torrential Gearhulk feeling whenever you used to play it in a Magma Opus. I know it's not the same thing, but at 5 mana, a lot of times we're playing this at 7, so we'll have 7 mana. We're just playing this, picking up a stock up and being like, okay, we have a counter spell, a removal spell, a good removal spell in terms of life gain, or we're just finding the pieces like, okay, we'll temporary lockdown you next turn, or Jeskai Revelation you if you're like Domain or something. But with that said, Decklist is fun. I think this is a nice solid list. There is one big downside. Now, this is uncommon, I believe, so I'm going to put it over here. This version's a rare. At the time, this was the only way to get Lightning Helix, I believe, so I have this one, but unsure. Or this is a cosmetic. I have no idea. Might be a cosmetic thing, but Lightning Helix in general is an uncommon. But as you're going to see pretty quickly, that the deck list is kind of expensive to craft overall. But we did go 5-0. It went pretty solid, and that's pretty awesome for us, you know? But with that said, things that you may be able to get away with not playing, again, Ill-Time Explosion is one of them, but oftentimes when a card is a one-of, you'll have it. Also, real quick, one sidebar note, a paper conversation at this point. What card is the most expensive card in this deck outside of maybe a random land? What'd you think? Trivia question for you. I would almost bet it's Stock Up. This card is like $18 in paper. It is that crazy. You know what I mean? It's like if Dig Through Time was only printed once and legal in every format, this card's $18. Sold out on Card Kingdom. Sold out for the most part at, like, nobody has 4 of on TCG Player and other card markets like that. This card is expensive in paper. I think it is the most expensive card in this list, unless they're like, this is expensive for some reason. But yeah, no, our uncommon is the most expensive card in paper, which is crazy. So instead of spending $80 on this, you can spend 4 uncommons. The game's weird when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, I mean, with that said, as you can see, the craft guide is pretty taxing if you don't already have it. The mana can be played around with a little bit. Obviously, you know, I think our mana felt pretty good, not kind of going overboard. I'll separate it a bit so you can kind of see the distribution of where we were in terms of kind of our lands. We really relied on playing Verges, have a lot of basics, have a lot of these. Don't want to get our lands blown up and kind of get taken out of the game that way, especially against some of those dragon decks that blow up lands. But with that said, 2 Revelations was awesome. Shiko is a 4 of. I thought would be clunky, but that was awesome. Temporary lockdown at 3 is okay because we are playing Helix, Abrade, Torches, and Get Lost, so it can kind of keep us alive until we temporary lock down that opponent and maybe even get them, like, kind of make a more valuable temporary lockdown over playing kind of a lackluster one just to absorb some early stuff because we play 4. And also in the games where this card doesn't matter, we have a way less likely chance to flood on drawing some of these too many times. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed. I know it's a weird outro talking about like the value of cards and money wise, but that said, I hope you all enjoyed regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.